Part 1. The Seminar of Species Supremacy explained in 1200 words. The story begins on a distant planet called Virex Prime, rich and powerful world in the heart of the Galactic Union. Virex Prime is not like Earth. It's home to tall, insect-like aliens who have ruled the stars for centuries. This planet is filled with towering buildings made of black stone and shining metal. One of the most important places on the planet is the Galactic Union Hall, where important meetings and events happen. On this day, the hall is packed. Delegates, leaders, scientists, generals, and strategists from many alien races have all come for a special seminar. A seminar is like a conference or class, but this one isn't about peace or progress. The event is called Operation Final Solution, Neutralizing Humanity. Yes, that's right. The goal of the seminar is to teach aliens how to defeat and kill humans. You see, humans have been spreading into space. At first, the galaxy didn't care. Humans were seen as weak, emotional, and primitive. But things started to change. Human colonies grew. Human technology advanced quickly. And worse for the aliens, humans began to win fights, small battles, skirmishes, outposts. But it was enough to make the galaxy nervous. The older alien empires didn't like this. They saw humanity as a growing threat. It's not just because of their numbers, but because of how humans refused to give up. Even when beaten down, humans got back up. Even when outnumbered, humans fought back harder. Their survival rate, creativity in battle, and refusal to surrender scared the galactic leaders, so they planned to act before it was too late. That's why they organized the seminar. The idea was to gather the brightest military minds from across the galaxy and come up with strategies to wipe humans out for good. The crowd says the aliens gathered in the massive hall. Many were excited. Giant insectoid creatures, scaled lizard-like beings, glowing energy-based life forms, all came with the same goal: to learn the best ways to eliminate Earth's nuisance species. The stage was set with large screens showing maps of Earth, videos of human colonies, and even images of human anatomy. Military banners from many alien empires hung on the walls. What none of them noticed was a figure sitting quietly in row 3, seat 7B. This figure wore the robes of a neutral alien race known as the Archene. The Archene were observers. They did not fight or take sides in galactic politics. They simply watched and recorded. The figure blended in perfectly. Nothing about him seemed strange. He took notes on a glowing tablet and stayed quiet, but there was something the aliens didn't know. That Arqueen observer wasn't Arqueen at all. He was Lieutenant Mason Briggs, a human spy from Earth's Terran Intelligence Corps. He had infiltrated the seminar using a fake identity, wearing a translator mask and robes to hide his face and voice. He had been sent by Earth's government to gather information. He wasn't just watching, he was studying them, listening to their weaknesses, learning their attack plans. He was surrounded by enemies, and they had no idea that a human was sitting right there in the middle of their war council. The opening speeches, the first speaker to take the stage was General Vroth, a hulking, armored creature from the Krill Dominion, one of the galaxy's oldest and most powerful war empires. He sneered as he looked at the crowd. Behind him, a hologram of a human appeared, showing muscles, bones, and vital organs. Humans are nothing more than overgrown vermin, Vroth said, voice booming. They are emotional, fragile, and easy to kill. Watch, he pointed to the back of the neck on the hologram. This spot here break the spinal connection, and they drop like sacks of meat. Simple. The crowd laughed. Then he pointed at the skull. Too much bone around the brain for an easy shot. Not a problem. Use plasma weapons or targeted sonic bursts to rupture the brain cavity. More laughter followed. Some aliens even took notes eagerly. Briggs didn't laugh. He didn't even flinch. His breathing was slow, his heart steady. He watched and recorded everything. He had trained for years to stay calm under pressure. Inside, he felt anger, but he couldn't show it. Not yet. Next, a Zelari. Scientists took the stage. The Zelari were small, spider-like creatures with brilliant minds in chemistry and biology. This one spoke with pride. "We've developed neurotoxins based on human biochemistry," it said, legs clicking. "Their immune systems are strong." "Yes, but they can still be poisoned. This gas code named Thaddeus causes rapid brain failure in under 2 minutes." A simulation played on screen. It showed human soldiers choking, twitching, and falling as a green mist spread across a battlefield. The aliens clapped again. Briggs stayed silent. He memorized everything: chemical formulas, deployment methods, timing estimates. Earth's scientists would need this information, and Earth's soldiers would learn how to fight back. False confident speaker after speaker came forward, each presenting their version of how to destroy the human race. One boasted about EMP weapons that would disable human ships. Another shared data about gravity mines that could crush human bones instantly. They showed clips of early battles, videos where human soldiers were overwhelmed, their colonies destroyed, their ships blown apart. The aliens saw these videos and believed they had the upper hand. They were confident, too confident. What they didn't understand was that those humans in the clips were unprepared. Many were civilians. Many had no support. The galaxy had seen only the early, untrained, scattered parts of humanity. They had not yet seen what humanity would do when truly united. They had not seen Earth's elite forces. Earthsea-driven warships. Your humanity's strategy of total adaptation, but they would soon. And the man sitting quietly in row 3 was going to make sure of it. Hidden among them while the aliens laughed and bragged. Briggs continued collecting every bit of intel. He knew he couldn't blow his cover yet. If he did, he'd be killed instantly. But the longer he stayed, the more he learned, and the more Earth's leaders would have to work with. He was alone, deep in enemy territory, surrounded by beings that wanted his people dead. But he wasn't afraid. He was calm, because he knew the truth. Humans don't just survive, they evolve. They adapt. And when pushed too far, they strike back harder than anyone expects. Part 2. The Arrogance of the Apex explained in 1,200 words the Galactic Union. Seminar on how to kill humans continued. After the opening speeches, the atmosphere inside the huge hall became even more arrogant and full of pride. The alien leaders believed they had already figured humans out. They thought humans were weak, emotional, and easy to defeat. They treated the whole seminar like a joke, confident that Earth and its people would soon be wiped from the galaxy. But deep in row 3, Lieutenant Mason Briggs, a human spy, still sat calmly. Disguised as a neutral alien observer, he kept watching. He didn't show anger. He didn't move or react. He simply listened, observed, and memorized every word and image. The aliens didn't realize that their biggest mistake was already sitting in the room. More experts on killing. Humans after General Vroth and the Zellery Poison Master gave their talks. New speakers stepped forward. They came from different parts of the galaxy. Some were tall and elegant, others covered in thick armor or glowing with strange energy. But they all shared the same belief. Humans are nothing special. The next alien was a tall creature from the Varn Empire. He brought detailed footage of human military bases and talked about using orbital strikes to destroy them. "You don't need to fight them on the ground," he said proudly. "Just drop kinetic rods from orbit. They can't defend." Against that, the aliens cheered. Another speaker talked about mental manipulation. He was a telepath from a species known as the Drevel. He claimed that humans were mentally unstable and could be broken with fear, confusion, or mind tricks. He showed a simulation where human troops started shooting each other after being infected with a fear virus. The crowd laughed again, but none of these aliens realized how much they were underestimating humans. Only one was calm. Mason Briggs was still quiet. His human mind was trained to remain under pressure. His thoughts were focused, not angry. He had already seen these kinds of aliens before, proud warriors who had never truly been challenged. He knew something they didn't. The galaxy had only seen the first layer of humanity, the early colonists. The peaceful diplomats, The explorers, the real humans, the hardened soldiers, the thinkers, the engineers, the warriors forged in Earth's history, hadn't been involved yet. Briggs could have stood up and told them they were wrong. But he didn't, not yet. He had to learn more. First, mistaking kindness for weakness, one speaker made a dangerous claim. He said, "Humans are soft. They love music, food, laughter, and emotion. That makes them weak." Showed images of humans dancing, celebrating holidays, caring for their children. They care too much. And that is their weakness. Briggs smiled quietly behind his mask. This was their biggest misunderstanding. Humans were emotional, yes. They cared deeply for their families, their homes, their freedom. But those very things made them stronger, not weaker. When humans fight, they don't fight for glory or power like many alien species do. They fight for love, for justice, and for survival. And when you threaten what they love, humans become the most dangerous species in the galaxy. But the aliens didn't understand that. Not yet. More fake confidence, say, group of alien scientists. Brought out holographic maps of Earth. They pointed out where to drop bombs, how to block Earth satellites, and how to use viruses to destroy Earth's food systems. They'd even discussed using asteroids to strike human cities from space. It was clear they were planning to exterminate all of humanity, not just defeat their armies. And all this was being discussed like a classroom lesson cold. Technical and without mercy. Mason. Briggs kept recording it all. Everything was being sent secretly back to Earth through a secure, invisible data link. Earth's leaders would know exactly what the aliens were planning, but the real question wasn't if humanity would survive. It was how bad the galaxy would suffer once humans started fighting back. One dangerous idea, then came the most dangerous idea of the day. An old alien general, skin like stone, stepped forward. "We should not just defeat the humans," he said slowly. "We must make them forget who they are. Break their history, erase their language, burn their stories." The idea was terrifying. They didn't want to just kill humans, they wanted to destroy the spirit of humanity. This way, the general said, if any humans survive, they will be like animals, lost, without culture, without unity. It was quiet for a moment. Then the aliens began to nod. They thought this was smart. They thought this would end a human problem forever. The human in row 3, but they had no idea that a human was sitting just a few meters away. A human who had heard everything. A human who was quietly studying every speaker, every plan, every map, and that human was not afraid. Mason Briggs had seen many enemies during his years in Earth's intelligence forces, but none as blind and arrogant as this group of aliens. They believed humans were broken creatures, full of weaknesses, but they didn't know about Earth's history. They didn't know about world wars, cold winters, famine, global pandemics, and years of survival against impossible odds. They didn't know that Earth itself had been a training ground, that humans had already faced hell and survived, and now humans had space fleets, cyber armies, planet-busting weapons, AI generals. Something far more dangerous, the will to win at any cost. The calm before the storm by the end of the session. Most aliens felt smug. They believed they were ready to crush Earth. The next phase would be simulations and mock battles where alien generals would test different strategies to wipe out human resistance. But Briggs wasn't done yet. He had seen enough. He knew now was the time to speak. He didn't plan to fight today. He didn't come to this hall to kill anyone. He came to deliver a message, one that the entire galaxy would never forge. Part 3. The Human Speaks, explained in 1,200 words. The Grand Alien Seminar continued inside the massive Galactic Union Hall on Virax Prime. More alien commanders gave speeches. More scientists showed maps and battle plans. Everyone in the room believed they were the smartest and most powerful beings in the galaxy. They believed humans were weak, that humans could be erased like an error in a computer system. They had no fear. They had no doubt. They had no clue, and they still didn't know that a human Lieutenant Mason Briggs was sitting silently in row 3. He had been watching, listening, recording every word and every plan with hidden tech. But now, something inside him told him the time had come. It was time for the galaxy to hear from the species they wanted to destroy. The simulation. Against a tall alien commander took the stage. Behind him, a giant hologram flickered to life. It showed a virtual battlefield complete with forests, buildings, and a small Terran colony. He raised a clawed finger and said, "This is the final exercise. How to crush a human outpost with overwhelming force." Alien generals stood and began shouting ideas. Send poison drones. Use sound weapons to confuse them. Drop sleep gas first, then attack. A few suggested building machines that could mimic human speech to trick Earth's forces. It had become a game to them, a cruel, smug game. They all gathered around the simulation like kids around a toy, eager to play with their victims. That's when it happened. The calm voice from row 3A voice broke through the crowd. Not loud, not angry. Dar. Just calm, firm, and clear. "I have a question." Dozens of heads turned toward row 3. The voice had come from one of the neutral observers in a gray robe. The being wore a translator mask, and nobody had really noticed him before. After all, the Arcane wrest the identity he was pretending to be never spoke during such events. The hall grew quiet. Briggs stood up. "Let's suppose that the humans knew you were coming, that they studied you, that they prepared for everything you're planning." The aliens looked confused. General Vroth narrowed his glowing eyes. "So what? Preparation changes nothing. Humans are still inferior." Briggs didn't move. "Are you sure?" A murmur ran through the hall. "Let's say," Briggs continued, "you launch your plan. But humans respond with a plan of their own. Not just to defend, but to strike back. What happens then?" The Drevel mind controller laughed. "Humans can't handle multi-species warfare. They'll panic, really?" Briggs asked. "Will they adapt faster than anyone expects?" No one answered. He kept going. "You've shown videos of humans being defeated, but you haven't shown what happens when they're angry, when they've lost family, when they've been betrayed." He raised his arm and tapped a small device on his wrist. The live feed suddenly. The hologram in the center of the hall changed. The alien battlefield disappeared. Now, it showed something. Else live satellite footage of Earth's orbit. Alien commanders froze. What they saw on the screen shocked them. Dozens-no. Hundreds of Terran warships were gathering above Earth. Large carriers, stealth corvettes, railgun destroyers, AI-guided drones. Some had cloaking fields. Some were warping in from deep space. It was the largest military formation the aliens had ever seen from Earth. "This," Briggs said, "was recorded yesterday." He stepped forward, pulling off his mask. The Arcane disguise fell away. A human stood before them. Gasps filled the hall. Several delegates reached for weapons. Others began shouting. But Briggs lifted one hand calmly. "Before you panic, hear me out." He pointed to the hologram. "You spent this entire seminar planning how to kill humans. You studied our weaknesses. But what you saw were colonists, civilians, farmers, explorers." He paused. "You have not seen our warriors." The face of humanity now fully visible. Briggs wore a black and gray uniform beneath his robe, marked with the sigil of Terran intelligence corps. A winged Earth wrapped in chains, ready to break them. "I am Lieutenant Mason Briggs," he said. "Terran Recon, trained in infiltration, sabotage, and asymmetric warfare." The aliens stared, silent. Briggs looked around the hall, his voice growing stronger. "You think we're weak because we smile? Because we laugh. Because we care." He stepped forward. "But that is our strength. We fight harder because we care. We don't give up because we remember who we're fighting for." He looked directly at General Vroth. "You don't know Earth's history. But I'll tell you. We survived world wars, nuclear threats, disease, famine, mass extinction events. We should have died off hundreds of times, but we didn't. His eyes narrowed. We adapted, revealing the trap. A few aliens began moving toward Briggs. But before they got far, the lights flickered. Emergency signals blared. Something was wrong. The walls glowed red. The doors locked with loud thunks. Briggs tapped his wrist again. A new message appeared in the air. External breach detected. Authorities disabled. Lockdown engaged. Panic spread. Alien. Generals tried to contact their security. No response. They tried to open exits. Sealed shut. The hall had become a trap. Briggs grinned slightly. You forgot something important. You weren't just listening. We were planning to. Screamed, what have you done? I signaled my team 10 minutes ago, Briggs said. They're already inside your base. Terran Special Forces are here. You wanted a seminar on how to kill humans? He raised his voice. Class dismissed. The last words of Part 3. More alarms went off. Outside the building, shadows began dropping. From the sky, Terran drop pods, sleek and fast, falling like metal comets. Inside the hall, the holograms shut down. The alien commanders had no access to their defense systems. Briggs turned and calmly walked back toward the center of the room. You should have asked yourselves one question, he said softly. What if a human was already in the room? He looked at them all, and now you know. Part 4. Panic in the hall, explained in 1,200 words the moment Lieutenant Mason Briggs revealed he was human. Everything changed. For hours, alien generals, scientists, and strategists had been talking about how to kill humans thinking Earth was weak, slow, and foolish. But now, they realized something terrifying. A human had been sitting among them the entire time, and worse, he wasn't alone. The calm before chaos, the alien leaders were frozen in shock. Some stared at Briggs with fear. Others shouted in anger. Some reached for weapons, but they were already too late. The smooth, polished conference room was no longer a place of strategy and planning. It was now a battlefield. Briggs had been calm, quiet, and polite until now. Think! But with a tap on his wrist device, he had activated a hidden signal. That signal had triggered several things at once. The hall's power flickered. Lights turned red. Warning alarms began to scream. Security doors slammed shut. External communications went dead. The alien leaders had walked right into a trap. Alien panic erupts security, shouted a reptilian officer from the Malkar. Syndicate. But there was no reply. Open the doors, yelled a Drival telepath. The control panels flashed red. Access denied. One insectoid admiral tried to fly toward the exit, but crashed into a force field and fell, screeching in pain. Now the fear began. Aliens ran in different directions, pushing past each other. Some tried to climb the walls. Others tried to dig. Through the floor, they had never expected to be the targets. These were beings who ruled planets, who had led conquests, who had destroyed other species. And yet now they were trapped like animals, just as they had planned to trap humans. The human force arrives outside the Union Hall. A storm had arrived not of weather, but of war. Terran drop pods fell from the sky like fireballs. Each one carried a squad of Earth's best. Special Forces operators, cyber, command hackers, recon scouts, mech suit soldiers. The pods smashed into the ground with explosive force, doors opening instantly as black armored troops poured out. Their mission was not to destroy everything, but to target key individuals. This was not a random attack. It was surgical precise, planned, and deadly. Back inside the hall, the walls shook as the first blast doors were breached. A massive boom echoed through the chamber. And then, the humans arrived. Battle in the chamber. Briggs dropped his robe, revealing his full combat gear underneath. Sleek armor, compact railgun, and a backup plasma blade. He moved with speed and control, jumping over chairs, flipping over rows, and taking cover behind a solid bench. The alien leaders were still disorganized. A few tried to fight. One pulled out a plasma rifle, but was quickly neutralized by a stun dart from a Terran sniper. Terran troops stormed in from the main entrance, weapons ready, They didn't shoot wildly. They marked targets specific aliens Earth had studied. For months, war generals, chemical weapons creators, alien assassins, the ones who planned to destroy humanity, these were captured, stunned, or sedated. Not all were killed, some would be taken back too. Earth for questioning. This was not revenge, it was a message. Briggs versus General Varathan came the confrontation. Everyone had been waiting for. General Varath, the Krill leader who had earlier laughed about cutting human spines and crushing their skulls, now stood face to face with Briggs. He roared and charged with a plasma blade the size of a sword. Briggs dodged left. The blade slashed past him with sparks flying. He dropped to the floor, rolled behind a desk, and fired a quick shot disarming Vroth. With a crackling rail burst, the blade flew across the floor. "You arrogant fool," Vroth bellowed. "You think this is victory? We are the apex." Briggs stood up slowly, calm as ever. "You studied how to kill humans," he said, "but we studied everything about you. For years. Quietly. Patiently." He raised his weapon again, but didn't fire. "Learned your biology, your politics, your weaknesses, your blind pride." He looked around the hall as more Terran troops secured the area. "You thought you were safe because you were powerful? But the thing you never understood about humans..." He paused. "We don't play fair." Why humanity did this, the aliens, who remained conscious, were now sitting on the ground, hands over their heads, surrounded by human soldiers. They couldn't believe it. They had all the power, or so they thought. Now they were prisoners. One alien scientist muttered, "Why? Why didn't you just declare war?" Briggs answered as he walked past, "Because we weren't trying to destroy the galaxy." He stopped and looked at them. "We were trying to survive it." This attack wasn't about showing off human strength. It was about showing the consequences of underestimating humanity. Earth wasn't going to ask for mercy. Earth wasn't going to beg. Earth was going to act. The broadcast before leaving, Briggs tapped his wrist again. Final signal. The Terran team uploaded a hacked broadcast that would be sent across thousands of systems. Every race in the Galactic Union would hear the same message. It was simple. To those who plotted our death, we hear you, we watch you, we walk among you. The next time you talk about destroying humanity, make sure there isn't a human in the room, or you won't leave that room alive. Extraction and escape. The Terran ships returned just as fast as they had arrived. Captured aliens were placed in special containers, live and unharmed, but restrained. Documents, plans, and data were stolen from the Union Hall's mainframe within 20 minutes. The entire mission was complete. Briggs boarded the last dropship. He looked back at the chaos. Inside the Union Hall, it had once been a place of pride and confidence. Now, it was smoke, broken chairs, shattered egos and fear. He smiled slightly. Class dismissed. He whispered again. The ship blasted upward, disappearing into the stars. The galaxy would never be the same. Word of the incident spread like wildfire. Alien. Empires that once laughed at humans now whispered in fear. Military leaders who once saw humans as prey now reconsidered. And no one ever again planned a seminar on how to kill humans, because now they knew a human might be sitting in Row 3. Part 5. The Lesson of Humanity Explained in 1200 Words. The Galactic Union Hall on Virex Prime was no longer a place of pride and power. It had turned into a disaster zone. Smoke filled the air. Holograms flickered and failed. The banners of proud alien empires hung, torn, or burning. The floor was littered with broken chairs, stunned generals, and ruined technology. The galaxy had expected to destroy Earth, but Earth had struck first and smarter, and now the entire galaxy was watching. Mission complete. Lieutenant Mason Briggs, the Terran spy who had sat quietly in Row 3 during the entire anti-human seminar, had led the operation. He had done what no alien thought possible: filtrate the Galactic Union's most secure war meeting, expose their secrets, and cripple their leadership in less than an hour. He wasn't alone. The operation was carried out by Earth's elite forces, special operations teams, AI-guided infiltration drones, cyber warfare units, stealth dropships. But it wasn't just a military win, this was a message, and every species in the galaxy had now received it loud and clear. Back on Earth a few hours later, Briggs stepped out of his transport shuttle at Earth's Defense Command Center, located deep beneath the Andes Mountains. The room was quiet as he entered. Then came a slow clap. Then another soon. The whole command room filled with applause. Soldiers, technicians, diplomats, all honored the man who had risked everything to make the mission. A success, Briggs saluted the High Commander. Mission successful, he said. Simply, the commander nodded. Status. All key targets extracted. Data secured. Enemy communication disabled. Minimal casualties on our side. The galaxy is now on notice. Then he asked the most important question. Were they afraid? Briggs looked the commander straight in the eye. They are now. The broadcast that changed the stars, Earth's broadcast, which Briggs had activated during the attack, was still echoing across the galaxy. On every alien planet, in every space station, in every military outpost, the message played on loop. To those who plotted our death, we hear you. We watch you. We walk among you. The next time you talk about destroying humanity, make sure there isn't a human in the room. You won't leave that room alive. This message did something that no weapon or ship ever could. It brought fear. The galaxy reacts across the stars. Reactions came quickly. The Zellery scientists the same. Race that bragged about creating poisons to kill humans now burned their research files and erased their experiments. They knew Earth would retaliate if they ever tried again. The Krill Dominion General Vroth, the same alien who once laughed about cutting human spines, was now a prisoner of Earth. His empire denied knowing him, afraid of Earth's power. The Drevel Mind Controller C's telepathic aliens had once claimed they could break human minds with fear. Now they were afraid to even think about Earth, knowing that humans had somehow blocked, outwitted, and beaten their best efforts. Neutral planets many small. Worlds that once avoided taking sides were now sending messages of peace to Earth. They didn't want war. They wanted alliances. For the first time in galactic history, Earth was no longer seen as a young species. Earth was now a power, not just in weapons or ships, but in strategy, courage, and unpredictability. Why the mission? Mattered, some asked. Why didn't Earth just start a war? Why not bomb every alien capital? Why not take revenge? Briggs answered it best. If we started a full war, we would have lost millions of lives. We would have created enemies for centuries. But by targeting their pride, we made them fear our intelligence, not just our weapons. That's far more effective. This wasn't just about fighting back. It was about changing the game. Earth didn't want to rule the galaxy. Earth just wanted to survive in it. And now, every species that once mocked or feared humans for the wrong reasons would think twice before crossing Earth again. The power of one human. The galaxy learned a lesson that day. Never underestimate a human. Because humans are adaptable, clever, resilient, united when it matters most, and perhaps most importantly, humans. Never forget the aliens had sat in that hall, laughing at how easy it would be to destroy Earth, but they had forgotten to check who might be listening. Now, they would never forget that the quiet observer in row 3 had turned the entire galaxy upside down. Peace through fear? Or respect? Some alien leaders now debated. Should we fear the humans? Or should we respect them? A few began sending peaceful envoys to Earth, hoping to open talks. Others began preparing defenses, unsure if Earth would come for them next. But Earth made no more moves, no invasions, no threats, no wars. That made the aliens even more nervous, because they had no idea what Earth was thinking, and that, in itself, was terrifying. A new chapter begins. The Galactic Union, once a group that ignored or looked down on Earth, now had to rewrite its entire understanding of humans. Earth wasn't just another species. Earth had shown it could think like them. fight better than them, outplan all of them, and most frightening of all, blend in. Because what if this wasn't the only human in disguise? What if Earth had spies in other halls, in their governments, in their fleets? The galaxy would never feel safe again. Final words. Mason Briggs later wrote a report titled The Human in Row 3, a case study in psychological warfare. It became a required reading in every Earth's military academy. His final line was the most quoted across Earth's history books: "The moment you treat humanity like prey is the moment you become the hunted." And so, from that day forward, the galaxy remembered a new law, one that echoed across every planet, every station, and every command center. Never host a seminar about killing humans, unless you're absolutely sure there isn't a human sitting in row 3. End of Part 5 explanation.